Welcome to the Curious Platypus. I'm Michael Edward, and today's piece is titled Hell is an Alarm Clock. The hellish sound of my alarm pulls me out of one realm and into another. My hand flops about in search of the button that will silence that infernal racket. It is Sunday, 10 a.m., and I have just been awoken from the most magnificent of dreams. My hand finally locates the snooze button, and with an unnecessary amount of force I put an end to that demonic tune, freeing myself to drift back into the illusory fantasies that are my dreams. Although I don't think our dreams are illusions, I think they are just as real as anything that occurs in waking life. In fact, I see the 16 or so hours we spend awake, flitting about in our meat suits, as nothing more than the price we must pay to spend 8 hours a night in the transient realm of the phantasmagorical. For me, nothing is more enlivening than the sudden jumps forward into unimaginable scenes, the confused, excited, and emotionally detached attitudes, the timeless and formless states, and the outer body and otherworldly experiences that are achieved in that effervescent place. That damn alarm goes off again. This time I don't fuck about with the snooze. Instead, I'm sure to turn that wretched thing off. My head quickly falls back into its rightful place, gently held by the bosom of my pillow. I sink into a limbo-like state between the two realms. Being half asleep has always reminded me of the type of meditation where you forget you have a body, but where your mind is still surprisingly lucid. Some of my best ideas come to me in this state, but whenever I try to wrangle them into the realm of matter, they escape me, like a fish slipping through my fingers. Or if I do manage to hook one of those slippery bastards, by the time I get it into the net of my notepad, I find it has transformed into an old boot. After many failed attempts at this, I no longer try to catch the fish, as I know that doing so would only sully their beauty. Instead, I just watch them while I'm here, appreciating their elusive nature. In my sleepy state, I failed to turn off my backup alarm. And God damn it, now I have to pee. As I stumble to the toilet, I contemplate getting up for the day. But in a maverick move, I decide against it. Instead, once again finding myself back in my heavenly cot. But alas, every time I begin floating back to where I want to be, I am rudely interrupted by my girlfriend's fidgeting. Admirably, I decide to tolerate it and not wake her. That is, until she rolls over and the snoring begins. At this point, my resentment begins to mount. I start wondering why I let her stay over in the first place, and how this tiny little person, who is so cute in waking life, can be the bane of my existence when it comes to slumber. Suddenly, an ungodly roar escapes from this beast's mouth, thrusting me into immediate action. First, I stop my foot from kicking her, which is no easy task. Then I roll her back over in a manner that wakes her up just long enough for me to get ahead of her snoring. This works a treat, and so after restoring silence to the land, I set about removing the hook that keeps my consciousness tethered to reality. Finally, I am back where I want to be, traversing the inner galaxies of my subconscious, in the hard-to-grasp and even harder-to-decipher fairy tales that are my dreams. Now my girlfriend's alarm has gone off, and yet somehow, despite that hellish sound, the beast remains asleep.